Let's talk Ngatitaure Askulumi. Welcome to the kitchen. So today my guest is Skosana and he's back again. And today he decided to join me from London. Our last episode, we really discussed about London. And surprisingly, he went back to London.
Yes.
Skosana, how's London, man?
Well, recently it's really hot. Kay Cie, it's good.
Yeah.
Summer is kicking in, and it's good to feel some sun for a change.
I know, but I thought you said you're not going back anytime soon, man. You
No.
actually love living in London.
Well, bills need to be paid.
I know.
And one has to go to work at some point. So, you have to do what you need to do to get those things done. So, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, no, that's good. So today, what are we talking about today?
So you told me there's this issue about losses. I want you to break it down because I'm really curious to hear what's been going on.
Oh yeah, there's been an issue that's been a hot topic back home in Zim. There's I don't know how you're going to react to this one. There's this lady. She's a socialite. She calls herself Mai Jeremiah.
Mai Jeremiah.
Mai Jeremiah. So she's been hitting the headlines, these couple of weeks. She does these internet skits where she's got a Facebook page, YouTube channel, and stuff like that. She's actually well known for what she does. She's a popular figure, if I can say. So she hit the headlines on a wrong note. She's married. She's a married woman. She lives with a boy or husband, and then she got these two guys. They took, according to her version, they took her to a lodge in Harare.
Two guys.
Yeah, two guys. Yeah,
Okay.
pretending that they wanted to work with her. She was supposed to do some kind of skits, and then apparently
does she have a podcast?
No, she's got a Facebook page where she does different kinds of like funny skits.
Okay.
She's a dancer. She creates these small skits, and that's how she makes her money.
Okay.
Yeah. So according to her, she goes on to say these guys took her to this lodge, pretending that they were going to offer her some kind of a job. And then when they got there, they apparently raped her. And then after that, she went and reported to authorities. So these guys were arrested, two guys. And then in their defense, these guys were saying, no, we actually agreed with her and we paid $20, for her to sleep with us.
Both of them?
Both of them, I think.
For 20 come on.
$20, yeah.
That's just...
But the kind of person she is, obviously, she wouldn't charge, that kind of money because, people are saying...
20 user for the both of them?
For the both of them.
You see, there in itself, that's a red flag there.
Yeah.
Continue, Bob.
And then, so when she was now pressed and the thing went to court, and then people, the problem that she did was she quickly ran to social media and started trying to defend herself.
Right.
And then these guys were saying, no, that's not what happened. She actually, wanted to have sex with us, and then she demanded $500, of which the guy said, no, we can't afford $500. We ended up giving her 20. So now when she was now pressed now in court, that's when she started changing her story. So what she was now saying is, let me just read to you what she was now saying now. It's quite an embarrassing story, to be honest. Right. So she was now saying,
so, I'm just trying to understand this. There are two guys, they asked Losis, okay, let's go and do this. What? They wanted to do like an interview, or kahle kahle bona they wanted to just have sex with her? What was the whole arrangement in the first place exactly?
Right. The okay. Maybe I can read this right. Mai Jeremiah, a social media influencer, right? So Mai Jeremiah demanded that, or she's saying, Mai Jeremiah said, I demanded that he use condoms. She told the Harare Magistrate Court as a rape trial started. Mai Jeremiah, a social media influencer, added, I was then shocked when we got into the office to see a bed and the two locked me in the room. When I realized that I was about to be raped, I started crying. Dube warned me that it would infuriate Charlie. I think Charlie was the other guy. So Dube left the room and Charlie started taking off his clothes. I demanded that he use condoms. This is someone who wants to be raped and then she demands the guy to use condoms. She narrated, because I was afraid when Charlie started removing his clothes, I also removed my dress and left my bra and pulling socks on.
That's not funny, my brother.
No. The way she's narrating, right? This guy, he starts taking off his clothes. And then what does she do? She also starts taking her clothes off. So is she raped or?
Lalela, look, you know, it's easy for us to let me be very clear here. We were not there. You don't know what these guys said or how they look.
No.
This is look,
okay.
look,
let me
this
go
is
further.
two guys against one woman.
Let me go for no. The other guy had actually left the room, so she was left with one guy.
Right.
Yeah. Then he started fondling me, and I removed the rest of my clothes. He raped me before Dube came and joined in. So the other guy comes in and joins. She removed her own clothes. And then she was raped. I mean, she removed her own clothes, right? So, prosecutor questioned if she consented. I don't believe I was in agreement, but I was acting out of coercion and fear. If I had wanted to engage in sexual activity, it would have been with Sam, not these boys. Initially, I had decided that I wasn't going to tell anyone about my ordeal because besides that I have a public persona, I didn't want to be embarrassed. He had scared me by saying he had access to classified information, and he told me scary stories, and he would find me wherever I would be. I suffered physically as I had to take medication which I reacted to. I have anxiety, I can't sleep even though we were having problems with my husband. I think this destroyed my marriage. Right. In defense, Charlie and Dube argued that Mai Jeremiah was not raped but was in agreement as she took off her own clothes, assisted Charlie to wear a condom. You see? Assisted the guy to wear a condom. The juror said Mai Jeremiah had agreed to a sex for money deal but later demanded $300 instead of $20 because she had given them extras such as kiss and foreplay. Right. So how would you deal with a situation like this?
You know, to me this is very sensitive because I've got two girls, you know, and I'm a father of two girls. You know, this is very sensitive. And Mina, you know, talking from a parent perspective, first of all, she put herself
in that situation.
Well, not necessarily. She was coerced. There was an agreement of something that didn't really did happen. Like, for example, Yena, the reason why she was there and what happened is not what she was there for. Now, let's be very clear with that. Now, having said that, as an influencer, one, these boys knew that she's an influencer.
They knew, yeah.
Yeah. So, don't you think they know in any case if anything they would do, if it was not within consent, it is always going to backfire and come back to them.
No, but as soon
No,
as
hold
she saw,
on.
as soon as she went into that scenario, why couldn't she remove herself from there?
Exactly.
She could
Now,
have done that, but she
why she exactly? So to me, look, this to me seems like an agreement gone wrong, in the sense that perhaps there was an agreement fourth hand, would see, they had agreed to something, and then somewhere along the line, as an influencer, she thought, maybe, you know what, maybe I didn't get what I deserve.
And then the other problem was she ran, after all this happened, she then ran onto social media and started talking about it. This was
Now,
something that was within the codes.
did she
but
immediately, after this incident happened, did she go and report this to the police? Did she call the police?
Well, I'm not sure how that happened.
Because that is very important, actually, to really understand. Which, okay, immediately after what happened, what did she do? Did she call the police? Did she? Well, you see, it's another thing as well, knowing how police operate in Zimbabwe. This is another thing we need to take into consideration. But nevertheless, what was her action after the incident?
Right.
Do we have any information regarding that? Because look,
I think
it's very hard.
after the money was not exchanged, that's when she cried rape.
So let's just put this into perspective then. So if the money was exchanged, would there be a rape situation? Let's just look. Hypothetically here, what I'm trying to say is, let's just say if these guys had given her what she wanted, even if they didn't agree to it, even if they were to have given her what she'd asked, nevertheless, whether the agreement wasn't, but would this matter be escalated to what it became if she was paid what she wanted at the time?
I think if it was paid, it would have been a closed deal.
So then I think this is it's a closed case right here. I think it's a matter of really looking into these influencers, and we should be very accountable for our actions, and to put our situations, not to put yourself in situations whereby you will be taken advantage of. And I think in this day and age, all of us know very well and very clearly that, in certain circumstances, we surely you should be really be, as an influencer that is a woman, if you feel exactly you're meeting two guys and whatever the circumstance is, you should either have a backup or someone else who would, in case anything happened, I can call you. If I don't call you in this moment, then perhaps, you need to have a contingency, just as an influencer, regardless of wherever you are, especially in a country like in Zimbabwe, where we know we do not have a very good policing situation. Now, putting yourself in that situation, I'm not saying sometimes those things can happen, but having said that, again, you should, as an influencer, you should know better of circumstances of what can and cannot happen, and then what do you have within that, as with what you have in place. You know what I mean? So for me, I think, look, I'm not saying yes, she could be a victim here, but I think as an influencer, she should have known better, and should have prepared herself better, and she should know better that there are people out there that would want to exploit or would want to try, and you should know better, knowing the situation in the country and what's going on with the police. If anything happens, what do you have in place to, your own protection as an individual?
Yeah, anyway, the story goes, it's still in the court, so we'll follow it and see the outcome of what's going to happen. But now, that goes on to my next point that uh, that's all this, with all this that's going on, it also leads me to the issue of, our generation and, this get rich
Quickly.
quick scheme
Yeah.
that's happening. Because if I remember, our grandfathers, they used to run businesses, successful businesses, and most of them, they were not even educated, but they used to run successful businesses. But now it looks like our generation now, we just want quick money, and
Yeah.
that's why this thing of the kind of rituals that are happening. What's your take on that?
Look, I think, my brother, I'm glad, you brought that up. Because again, to me, what was her intentions in the first place? What actually, look, as an influencer, did she really need to be in that, put
no,
herself,
no.
no, but listen, you see, that actually connects to what I'm about to answer the
Okay,
question.
okay.
Because it does. You see, all of us in society, we need to be accountable of the decisions and the actions and what we make, because sometimes the quicker these quick fix are not really as quick as we might think, because you don't know the intentions of the other person. Now, coming back to that, maybe, for example, she used this position to enhance herself in these. Do we know she could be involved in these rituals, for example? Because these rituals, they work in different things. You take something from someone, it's all about it's a spiritual warfare, to put it in layman's terms. You exploit a vulnerable moment of someone. It could be he or she, regardless of the moment, but you gain something of it. You offer something. In that offering that you offer them, you're not entirely being honest in what it is exactly you're offering. For example, take you to a club, buy you this, and then, no. Let me go back a little bit. I caught you as a girl, Angit. Tina, I'm old school. I don't even know if they court girls these days. I don't know how they even operate.
No, they just slide into your DM, or they just say,
You
"Can you
see,
give
the
me
DM didn't exist.
your LG,
We used to have,
Instagram, and
we used to have telephone box. You have to walk a distance, put a 5 cent, 10 cent
and watch
coin.
it go, and you have to speak quickly."
You understand that?
Yeah.
So it was different from where we're coming from where we are now. Now, literally, smartphones and all this. But you see, the thing is now, you go to someone to go and get something to get you somewhere faster, quicker. It's like a shortcut. It's a shortcut. So this shortcut, though, it doesn't always work out as how you want it. For example, you go there and say, oh, listen, I would want to get a portion of something that can attract rich someone, or whatever it is, whether it's a rich man or rich women if you're a guy, and then only to find out that maybe you're attracting transsexuals or homosexuals, just to put it in but you attract whatever. They say sometimes it can go wrong. Now, they come with money, nevertheless. You see, the bottom line is money, right? It's about wealth. So, hence now you find that out now you've got guys who are not gay, but are into this gay, what do you call them?
A PDD style.
Exactly. They want to end up. So you see, because the bottom line is money, now you're in there, now you can't come out. So you want the bottom line. It's either bazokushaya when they move or uzashaya omunye move. But you see, the bottom
But
line.
it's at the end of the day, they just want to leave. They just want to make money and move on. That's quick money. That's what everyone wants to do. Yeah.
And then in some cases, right, when they give you these ritualistic, you know, in some cases, it comes down to either it will go to the point where you would have to make a sacrifice at some point. Not in all cases, but in some cases, you would have to make a sacrifice where it includes a blood sacrifice, or it can start with a chicken, for example. I mean, I've heard so many stories with these things.
Yeah, because like there's I don't know if you know, there's one friend of ours who passed on a couple of, I think it's about 3 weeks now, 4 weeks, I think. He was quite a well-known entertainer, influencer, DJ. I've worked with him a couple of times. You know, he was quite he was a controversial guy.
Who?
You know, he's called Kay Cie. I don't know if you know him from.
Oh
Birmingham.
no, well, I didn't know him
until
recently when I was online. But why was he controversial?
I worked with him a lot, quite a lot in the media industry. Well, to me, he was himself. You know, he made things happen. You know, wherever there was entertainment, he would be there. You know, he helped a lot of people, you know, come to the UK, and then also he had another side of him that a lot of people did not like, you know, quite a lot of.
But what about you personally? Did you witness that?
No, I did not witness it, because when I worked with him, it was strictly on a professional thing. So he was now running a club in Birmingham called Gango. It was quite a popular place, you know. So the night that he passed, I think there was a video that started circulating, because people were saying that because he was now stepping on people's toes, like
in what sense?
Business wise. Business wise, he was now taking over Birmingham. So a lot of these other, you know, club owners, you know, particularly Nigerians, were not happy. That's how I heard, allegedly, that's how I heard it. Then there was a video that came out. If I find it, I'll play it.
People are doing rituals in the club. I saw a video of a ritual being done in the club. Oh my days, guys, if you are a Christian, you need to be staying away from clubs. It's one of the things I've said on my channel before. You need to be staying away from the outers of darkness. These clubs are places where evil occurs, and you as a child of God have no place in that place.
Where they were holding a ritual in a club, these Nigerians, a proper ritual where Nganga and what came into the club,
and there were people.
There were people in the club, and they were doing these rituals, and then
like what exactly? Can you just be very precise?
No, you know rituals. You know rituals.
I don't know, because
African rituals. They just came in Nganga, and then they were like beating drums, and people were enjoying themselves. But then they say this procession of people coming in, you know, and they were holding some kind of it was like a pot or something, you know. So people were saying that they were doing a ritual for this guy, and then the next time this guy, he passes on.
But people, was he playing it that night when this ritual thing was going on?
I think he was at his club. You know, he was doing his thing at his club. And then this comes up after the guy dies, and then they say, no, guys, you need to watch out, because these guys, they are now doing rituals in clubs in Birmingham.
But according to the things that are surfacing about him, specifically, there's more to it than that. But, you know, one thing I find fascinating is that if people knew not necessarily about rituals, there were other, you know, certain things that are coming out in the woodwork. But how come no one is saying anything? Why are people saying something now? You see, this is one thing I don't understand about us. You know, if we really look, it's one thing saying something about someone, right? He's gone now. But when he was there, how come no one was saying anything about this?
No, people were saying quite a lot when he was there.
Even when he was alive?
Yeah, when he was alive, people were talking. But he was one guy who never really, give a damn about anything, because he was a businessman.
No, but give me an example. Okay, listen. For example, look, it's one thing. I mean, when you're popular and you're good at what you do, there's always going to be positive and negative, right? But there's certain aspects of that positive and negative. It's a bit.
The only negative that I witnessed was, when was it, last year, on this Zim festival thing, Zimfest in London, I think, where he was assaulted because people were claiming that he took their monies and he didn't give them back and stuff.
To their monies, what they were supposed to perform or something? Or?
I don't know what he was supposed to do with the money, but he owed people a lot of money. So whenever he used to go to events, people would attack him, but still he would go to those events knowing that his enemies are going to be there, but he would show up.
That's a red
and
flag.
He would rock the place again. After they beat him up, he would always rock the place. That's the kind of person he was.
Look, that's a red flag. Especially about Twalayo. You see, you see, the thing is, people who are in these kind of rituals and these kind of things, they think they own and they run things. They really do and they forget that they are only just another human being, just like me and you. No one is above anyone.
But to him, to be honest, I don't think it was anything to do with rituals. I mean, the guy.
How do you know that? How do you know that? Listen, speak for yourself. Don't go beyond. Speak for what you've seen and leave it there. Don't go beyond.
That's what I'm saying. According to what we heard, the guy had a cardiac arrest.
Yes.
That's what happened.
So let's leave it there then.
Yeah.
So don't go to the fire saying you don't know, because you don't know.
This
is why you don't know precisely.
That's why people are waiting to hear.
But you see, the thing is, there's a picture here. You can draw a picture. Just me talking to you, asking you a couple of questions. Okay, what did you witness within him that made you feel unease at a certain point? You just mentioned one situation. So perhaps if I speak to another person who's worked with him, perhaps he would mention another situation again. Yeah. So then now it builds a bigger and a bigger picture. You feel what I'm saying, my brother? So you see, there is no smoke without no fire. This is the truth of the matter. So sometimes we really need to be very careful of overstanding certain things. And we need to stop this thing of brushing things under the carpet. And those about Tandizi.
Yeah, anyway, we've got 2 minutes to go. So what do you think about the Bishop Maponga? I know he's your friend. What do you think about him? The guy was a bishop once. And
I actually respect that guy. I have to be really
But
quite
the guy
honest.
was a bishop of a church.
Look,
now he's going against what he was telling people.
Look, I respect that guy. When I lost my respect for him is when him and Rudendo went in this pro Mnangagwa. When he was being elected, there was a time they were pro.
But now he's going against what he was saying.
But what does that tell you about the man? You see, I don't need to say any more from that. All I'm saying is that, sometimes we need to pay attention.
You sing for yourself, innit?
Precisely. So I think Maponga.
And that Rutendo guy, he just disappeared.
Why?
I can't see.
Why? Why? Ask yourself. You see, these are type of individuals who are very chameleon. You understand? They reflect what they want to reflect when it suits their concept, and then when it doesn't, they change. So it's like Trump, it's like the trumpet Trump. So Maponga de Ponga, de Ponga. Asizi utweni uthini, de Ponga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met him once at the airport, and then he's such a lovely guy to talk to.
No, he is. Don't get me wrong. But does he have his concept right? As much as he says it is.
Right.
Look beyond the man. You understand?
Yeah, he's
busy.
he's good at talking, convincing people. But we would love to have him on our podcast.
Of course. You know, I come from a Sabatini myself, and I'm not part of it, and I don't glorify it like he says, and I agree with the things he says, but there's certain things he needs to look in the mirror before he starts pointing fingers. You know, we're all human beings here. No one is above no one. Maponga de Ponga. So,
Mr. Maponga, we want you on our next
Sakfuna vele.
Yes.
Sakfuna.
So anyway, Mr. Skosana, it's been nice talking to you
For
again, and we'll see you when you come down Wales, and we need to look for Mr. Maponga so that he can come on our podcast.
Of course.
Yeah. So guys, it's been nice. Let's keep the conversation going on, guys. What we've talked about, comments in the comment section, and then we'll see you on the next one.
One love. Tatenda.